Hey guys, it's Chey. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and if you're not, hey boo. So for today's makeup look, I wanted to do something really girly and flirty. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the rapper Monaleo, but she is absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to create a Monaleo inspired look, and this is what I came up with. Now, really with a Monaleo look, it really is mostly focused on the blush. She really places a beautiful pink blush along here and a little bit on the nose, and then of course she does a pink glossy lip. I noticed with her eyes she normally does something cat eye, whether it's something neutral or like soft pink. For me, I wanted to do something a little bit more glam, so of course I had to bring out some glitter. The eyeshadow palette that I use today is going to be this BOLIVE Nude Persuasion palette, and this is a black owned brand. This is Beauty by Melissa's makeup brand, and she is a makeup artist and she really specializes in like glitter cut creases, so I had to support. This is what my palette looks like. As you can see, I have dibbed and dabbed in her before. I really do love this palette. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes to use. So if you like it here, if you like my vibe, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without any further ado, we're gonna go into this Monaleo inspired glam.
So I'm coming to you guys barefaced, and the skin is skinning today, and that's thanks to my SPF, but the lips are looking dry and crusty, so I'm taking the Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump Lip Plumper to prep the lips. Then I wanted to go for this golden bronzy glow, so I took this L'Oreal LUMI Glotion in the shade Deep, and as you can see, it literally just melts into the skin, and this is really just going to give me that glow from within because I'm using a more matte foundation, but I still want the skin to look skin-like, so the skin is literally glowing. I look like a golden goddess, and I am here for it. And as you can see, the lips are starting to plump up and I'm feeling the tingle. So I did my brows with the NYX brow pen and I just cleaned it up. I noticed that Monaleo does like a thinner brow, so that's what I'm doing. Now it's time to prime the face. I have really oily skin, but this is the liquid poreless putty from e.l.f. and this is really just going to blur my skin. It doesn't really help with oil control, but the foundation is going to do all of that. So now we are on to prepping the eyes. I'm using the P.LOUISE base in Rumor number 5, and we are just blanking out the eye, and we're going into our Nude Persuasion palette, and I'm taking these beautiful brown tones right here, and we are using that as my transition shade. That way the dark colors have something to blend into. Then I'm going into this beautiful chocolate brown called Cafe, and I'm really focusing this into the crease. That way we have some dimension, and then I'm going to blend out the edges using those previous brown colors. Now I'm taking this black called Black Girl Magic, and I love the names in this palette, and then I'm blending it out using Cafe, and then I'm blending Cafe out with those same brown tones, and you just want to repeat the process until you get the pigment that you want. Now it's time to set the lid, and I was being lazy, so I didn't want to cut the crease, so I just started applying this pink shade called Blush onto the lid, and I did about 2 layers of it to get the pigmentation that I wanted. Now I'm taking the NYX glitter glue because we are going to be using this pigment from BOLIVE in Princess Cut, and I'm just applying that all over the lid, and it's giving me that beautiful shine. Then I'm just going to go ahead and line the lash line with some black liner, and I like to go up in a diagonal. I'm popping on these lily lashes, and now we are color correcting. Now for me, color correcting is essential because as a woman of color, I do get darkness around my mouth and underneath the eyes because mom life be lifing, honey, but you wouldn't be able to tell with this color corrector. Now we are taking this BPERFECT CRONZER, which I love the name. It's a cream bronzer from BPERFECT in the shade Nutty, and as you can see, baby girl is pigmented, and that is why I love UK makeup, because look at the depth, the richness, and it just blends out so easily. So I'm just using that on the nose contour as well, and as you can see, it is just so rich. And I'm also using that to line the lips. For foundation, I am taking this Urban Decay Face Bond foundation, and baby, this foundation is so amazing. I have really oily skin. Like, I have PCOS. I'm oily all year round, but this foundation holds up literally in the heat. I went to a festival, and you guys know those festivals outside are no joke, and I wore this foundation. Baby, the face did not move. I was sweating and everything, and the face was stuck. So if you guys have oily skin, or if you have problems with your foundation separating or anything like that, y'all definitely need to get your hands on this foundation. I love her down. So now I'm just adding a little bit more of that cream bronzer onto the face, because I like a nice sculpted look. And now we are on to concealer. I am taking the NATASHA DENONA High Glam Concealer. This is in the shade NY12, and I'm making sure to take the concealer up high to really lift the eyes, because Monaleo has a really like snatched cat eye shape, and my eye is pretty much like more open. It gives more doe-like, so I'm just making sure that I enhance that cat eye shape. I'm gonna go ahead and spray the face using the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, letting it dry down a little bit, and then I'm using my foundation brush to blend out the lower part of my face. And then when it comes to the under eyes, I'm actually going to switch with a smaller brush. That way I have more control, especially to get right there by the eye to make sure it's nice and lifted. And as you can see, this concealer is blending like a dream, and I absolutely love it. I love the coverage, and I wanted a little extra pop. Y'all know I love a bright under eye, so I'm taking this concealer from Pink Honey in the shade 09C. So it is a lot lighter than my skin tone, but don't be afraid. Speaking of Pink Honey, I'm mixing these two blushes, and this blush color is so cute. It's literally like the perfect like pinky, a little bit corally. It just gives flirty, and I'm actually adding that a little bit on to the lips. So now it's time to blend out that concealer that we let dry down a little bit, and I'm really just being mindful of the placement, not taking it too far across the under eye. And then I went in with this one size sponge just to soak up any excess, because we don't want any creasy under eyes. And then I blend out that nose highlight, and now it's time to set the face, well, really the under eye. And as you can see, this kimchi powder is literally like magic. Look at how blurring and smoothing it is. And this is the shade Banana, and as you can see, it definitely brightens and smooths. So yeah, the skin is giving flawless. It's giving filter, and I love it. Okay, so now it's time for bronzer, and I wanted to dip into this Jaclyn Cosmetics bronzer in Bare Babe. Now I love this bronzer, and I hate that this is no longer available, but I still like to bring her out on occasion, because look at how perfect the tone is. And then we're going to use that as well to bronze up the nose, and I'm running that bronzer slightly into the crease. And then once we have all of the bronzer on, it is time for blush, and I'm taking the Sephora Collection blushes. I'm starting with the shade Flirted Up to really start as a base for the blush, and then once I have that on, we're going to make sure we add it onto the nose. And then I'm going into this brighter blush, and it is definitely bright. It's called Date Night, and I'm just applying that as well. That way we have a nice ombre, and don't forget the nose. So now it's time to bake, and I'm using that same Kimchi Beauty powder, and I'm going over the lips. And then we are actually gonna just start lining the lips. This is MAC Chestnut. I found her finally. She was in one of my purses, and I think that this is just such a perfect brown. So I just am lining the lips, but we are not done with the lips yet. We're gonna go back into the face, and I'm taking the Sephora Micro Smooth powder and dusting away that bake on the face, but I'm leaving the under eyes alone. I just took a clean brush and just dusted that powder away, so there's no added product. This is just from the setting powder. Now, of course, we have to highlight the nose. This is a highlighter from Vive, and you just want to make sure you blend that out. And then I wanted to make sure that my eyes looked a little bit smaller, really given that cat eye shape. So I went in with the Made by Mitchell All Smudge No Budge eyeliner, and I just added that onto my lower lash line. We're going to spray the face again with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. I'm adding MAC Snob because Monaleo loves a good pink glossy lip. And then for gloss, I took this Essence Gloss in Flower Bomb, and we're doing the hair. And this is the final look, guys. It's giving pink flirty. I was definitely channeling my inner Monaleo. Let me know how I did, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.